apply that. But look pretty in here. Hurry up and put me in my soft girl air. Trash can. Shea butter, baby. I know that you're feeling me. Bust it to the 10th degree. I know that you're into up late. Okay.
The thing that pissed me off about Martin was how much he would go on Pam. I'm not like too woke or something is what I'm trying to say.
How does someone go from getting projectile vomited on as an Uber driver to signing with J. Cole's Dreamville Records, only to walk away from it all while starting a national debate about colorism on a beloved 90s sitcom?
The thing that pissed me off about Martin was how much he would go on Pam. Like, I know, like, and this is coming from a girl who I love me a good, like, joking ass movie.
Courtney Sinead Salter, born on March 26, 1991 in Washington, D.C., she did something almost nobody does successfully. She left a major label and lived to tell about it. But between the Dreamville exit and the think pieces about Martin and Pam, there's a story nobody's talking about. The Uber rides, the stolen Goodwill clothes, the lemony tasting ants. Because Ari Lennox didn't just leave Dreamville, she left behind the version of herself who was willing to compromise. Let's start where it begins. Washington, D.C., March 26, 1991. Courtney Sinead Salter came into this world as an Aries, which explains everything about what's coming.
Courtney Sinead Salter. So I was watching this movie called The Secret Garden, and the girl's name was Ari Lennox, and I decided to remix it into Ari Lennox.
Strong-willed, independent, ready to fight at any moment, and according to Courtney herself, probably incompatible with Geminis. But we'll get to her dating rules later. Trust me, they're specific. Before she was Ari Lennox, the R&B star, she was just Courtney watching The Secret Garden when everything clicked. Little did she know that the name she'd create would one day trend on Twitter for reasons that had nothing to do with music.
Because I'm an Aries and Ari and India Ari, and then Lennox is like rock star.
Mary Lennox became Ari Lennox. Rock star vibes. But years later, she'd admit maybe she should have gone more Nubian the name.
I felt like a rock star, like if I had that name, but maybe I should have went the more Nubian route.
Too late now, though at this point, she had no idea that becoming somebody would involve getting fired, getting vomited on, and getting arrested multiple times. 3 times, actually. And we're going to talk about all of them. But fame wasn't knocking. In the mid-2010s, while Ari was trying to build a music career, bills needed paying, so she became an Uber driver. And when she sat down with Funny Marco years later, she told 3 stories that should be a PSA for anyone thinking about driving strangers around. 3 different people, 3 different nights, projectile vomit on her shoulder, and she kept driving because bills don't care about your dreams. But here's what nobody knew. While Ari was cleaning vomit out of her Kia Soul, she was also living a double life. A criminal one. Because when Funny Marco asked about her arrest record, Ari didn't hesitate. 3 arrests. And the first one involves a place you'd never think to steal from.
But then when I got arrested, I stopped. That was the first time I got arrested. I was stealing from the Goodwill.
Stealing from Goodwill, the thrift store where everything's already discounted. Stuffing clothes in her pants, her shirt, her bag. Got arrested and admitted she still steals sometimes. Future Grammy-nominated artist boosting from charity stores. But that's arrest number 1. She mentioned 3. What were the other 2? She didn't say. But knowing Ari, they're probably just as unexpected. But wait, that's not even her most shocking confession from childhood.
So I would like them to know that in preschool, I used to eat ants.
Ants. She ate ants on purpose because they tasted lemony and spicy.
I don't know, they had a lemony and then like spicy taste, but I think I just was hungry.
She told the ant community she's sorry. Too late, Ari, they're organizing. But between eating insects and stealing sweatpants, Ari was building something on SoundCloud that would eventually get J. Cole's attention.
I was working at Public Storage and just dropping music on SoundCloud, and there's an amazing rapper named Omen. He loved my music. He told Eve and Cole about it. And he was like, we'll fly you out like tomorrow or tonight, something like that, so that you can meet Cole in the studio and stuff like that. And
Dreamville, October 2015. J. Cole signed her, the first female artist on the roster, the only R&B singer on a rap label packed with lyricists. And from day one, it was an awkward fit. But nobody knew just how awkward until nearly 10 years later when it would all fall apart publicly. In 2016, she released Foe, her debut EP under Dreamville.
So baby, you're the greatest.
5 tracks of neo-soul. Critics loved it, but commercially, crickets. Dreamville was focused on rap, and Ari was floating in limbo, making beautiful music that nobody outside her core fan base was hearing.
Then, in 2019, Shea Butter Baby changed everything. The full album, with the J. Cole feature. And suddenly, everybody on Black Twitter knew who Ari Lennox was.
Shea Butter Baby.
The album debuted at number 52 on the Billboard 200. Not huge, but solid for an R&B debut in 2019. BMO, Up Late,
Okay.
Whipped Cream. Every song felt like a warm hug from your favorite auntie. This was Neil Soul Twitter's soundtrack. Then, in 2020, Pressure happened, the song that would define her career and become the anthem for women tired of settling. The song peaked at number 66 on the Billboard Hot 100, her first charting single. And suddenly, Ari Lennox was a star, performing on late-night shows, getting magazine covers. Everything was clicking, or so it seemed. In 2021, Age/Sex/Location dropped, her sophomore album. And this is where the numbers tell a story. The album debuted at number 33 on the Billboard 200. Remember, Shea Butter Baby debuted at 52. She jumped nearly 20 spots. She was growing, getting bigger. Unloyal with Summer Walker became a fan favorite. Waste My Time, Queen Space. The album proved she wasn't a one-hit wonder. But Ari wasn't happy. Behind the scenes, she was struggling with the industry, with Dreamville, with the pressure of being the only R&B girl on the rap label that didn't know how to promote R&B. And then, in 2022, the cracks became visible. Ari started tweeting, and not just casual tweets, warning sign tweets, the kind that make publicists panic and fans nervous. She tweeted about wanting to quit music entirely, about feeling unappreciated despite her success, about being frustrated with the lack of support and promotion from her label. She was tired, exhausted, and she wasn't hiding it anymore. Fans flooded her comments with love and support, but also concern. Because when an artist starts publicly venting about their label, about wanting to quit, about feeling unsupported, that's not just frustration. That's a breakup waiting to happen. The writing was on the wall. The relationship with Dreamville was dying in real time on Twitter. But Ari kept going. She had to. In 2024, she released Smoke with Jermaine Dupri and Brian Michael Cox, two legends who shaped 2000s R&B. Usher's Confessions, Mariah's We Belong Together, that pedigree. And the song was incredible. Smooth, sexy, classic R&B. But here's the thing, it wasn't released through Dreamville. It went straight through Interscope, and anybody paying attention knew what that meant. Ari was already operating like an independent artist while technically still signed to Dreamville. The divorce was happening, just not officially yet. Then, in early 2025, the news finally broke. Ari Lennox was leaving Dreamville. After nearly 10 years, the marriage was officially over. And when Joe Budden's podcast discussed it, they kept it diplomatic.
This is the least surprising news, I think, for me in R&B anyway. Ari Lennox, leaving Dreamville.
A weird fit, and they weren't wrong. Dreamville was built for rappers, not neo-soul singers who wanted to talk about love and shea butter. But here's what's interesting, Joe Budden being diplomatic. Because there was a time when things between Joe and Ari weren't so peaceful.
I mean, it looks like everybody's happy with they split. She was clearly unhappy at the label. When you ask to get off the label, you get your freedom. Now it's on you to do what you do.
Years ago, Ari actually dissed Joe Budden in a song. Joe responded on his podcast. Twitter went crazy. It was messy. But clearly, time heals wounds,
because when they discussed her Dreamville exit, the energy was respectful, growth on both sides.
There's no beef on my end.
Oh, you ready to squash
Shout
it
out
too?
to Ari Lennox. If you heard the earlier part of the pod,
I did,
want to squash it with anybody that has a beef with Joe Budden. I don't have a problem with it.
But let's talk about timing, because the timeline of Ari's exit is suspicious. She left Dreamville in early 2025. J. Cole's very public apology to Kendrick Lamar after their beef, that happened in 2024. And it wasn't just an apology, it was viral. Memes everywhere. Think pieces about whether J. Cole was soft, whether he should have apologized, whether it damaged his reputation. And if you're Ari Lennox, watching your label head go through that public embarrassment, watching the internet drag him for apologizing, watching him essentially disappear from public view for months after, yeah, that's probably when you start looking at your contract with fresh eyes. That's when you start calling lawyers. That's when you realize maybe this isn't where I'm supposed to be anymore. But Ari didn't just leave quietly with the press release. She left with something to say, because right around the same time she was negotiating her Dreamville exit, she started a national conversation about colorism that would have half of Black Twitter ready to fight. It started with Martin, the iconic 90s sitcom, Martin Lawrence and his crew, and specifically Martin's relationship with Pam, played by Tachina Arnold. Martin clowned Pam relentlessly, called her Beady Beady, joked about her hair, said she looked like a man, said she couldn't keep a man. We all laughed. But Ari asked, why were those specific jokes only aimed at the dark-skinned woman? When Rory and Mal discussed it on their podcast, the debate got heated.
Are you talking about Ari Lennox in reference to saying that the jokes about Pam were anti-Black? I don't think that she's being overly sensitive. She's not the first person to ever say that the sidekick is always a dark-skinned woman and she catches a lot of jokes.
Dark-skinned women being called manly, nappy-headed, can't keep a man. These tropes have haunted dark-skinned Black women for generations.
Those are all stereotypes that are used with dark-skinned women.
And even though Martin Lawrence never explicitly said, because you're dark-skinned, the jokes themselves carried that weight. They were the same jokes that had been weaponized against dark-skinned women for decades. But the pushback was immediate and loud. It's just comedy. Martin joked with everybody. Y'all too sensitive. Victim mentality. The internet split down the middle, and Ari Lennox found herself in the center of a cultural war about colorism, comedy, and whether we're allowed to revisit beloved shows with new perspectives.
But he's cracking on everybody. We can't turn this into, yo, it made me feel a way. Have you ever once watched Martin and felt like what he said to Pam was inappropriate?
Not as far as being inappropriate, no, but I'm very aware of tropes against Black women.
The debate raged for weeks. Think pieces from every angle. Twitter threads breaking down colorism in 90s sitcoms. Dark-skinned women sharing their own experiences with those same jokes. Light-skinned people dismiss it as overreaction. And Ari Lennox became the face of a conversation she didn't ask for, but refused to back down from. But here's the thing about Ari. Whether it's leaving Dreamville, calling out colorism, or admitting she ate ants in preschool, she doesn't back down. And when Funny Marco asked her about her love life, she got very specific about what she's looking for now.
Okay, like I'm open to dating anyone, and now I just want to be more intentional about that process because I just want to get less played.
Guys on her level, comedians, people who understand the entertainment world. No more getting played. No more soft boys who can't match her energy. And definitely no Geminis. She's dead serious about that. If you're a Gemini, don't even try. She wants someone who calls, not texts. Someone who FaceTimes because they actually want to see her face. Communication. That's what she's demanding now. And it's not just about dating. It's about everything. Ari's entering what she calls her soft girl era. New music, new energy, new boundaries. She's making music for herself now. Not for Dreamville, not for the algorithm, for her.
I don't know if we are compatible, me and Geminis, but I just want to date like guys that are on my level now.
There's an album coming. Songs with titles like Pretzel are exactly what you think they're about. Under the Moon, where she howls like a werewolf. And she's not apologizing for any of it. Let's talk about money. Because for someone who was on a major label for nearly a decade with hit songs, Ari Lennox's net worth might surprise you. As of 2025, Ari Lennox's estimated net worth sits at approximately $4 million. Pretty comfortable considering. Shea Butter Baby has over 100 million streams on Spotify. Pressure has over 200 million. BMO has over 70 million. Those streaming checks add up, but they don't make you wealthy. They make you comfortable, and comfort was enough for Ari Lennox to walk away from a major label and bet on herself. So what's Ari Lennox actually doing in 2025? Let's get specific. Relationship status? Single. And extremely intentional about who gets access now. Location-wise, she's splitting time between LA and the DMV. And get this, she drives a pickup truck now. The girl who used to drive Uber and a Kia Soul while people projectile vomited on her shoulder is now pulling up in a Ford F-150. That's growth. And apparently, she takes her own trash to the landfill because why pay someone when you have a truck? Music-wise, Soft Girl Era dropped in March 2025.
Hurry up and put me in my soft girl era. Ain't first class, I ain't going nowhere.
It's exactly what the title suggests. The video features her looking for that leading man. And Funny Marco tried his hardest to be considered for the role during their interview. She shut it down immediately. I just don't know if it matches the theme I'm going for. Translation, no, Marco, not happening. Then there's Under the Moon, where she's literally howling like a werewolf. Because if you're going to make R&B, make it weird, make it yours. And Pretzel? She told Funny Marco it's her favorite song on the upcoming project. A song about wanting him to fold her like a pretzel. She said it out loud, on camera. Soft Girl Era Ari doesn't do subtlety. The full album is done, completely finished. She's working with Jermaine Dupri and Brian Michael Cox as her main producers, the same legends who crafted the sound that defined 2000s R&B. Usher's Confessions, Mariah's We Belong Together, that legacy, but filtered through Ari's 2025 neo-soul lens. She's manifesting a Stevie Wonder collaboration, once an Usher feature, and she told Funny Marco her grandma used to say she sounded like an angel when she sang. Her other grandma told her to shut up, but that first grandma's encouragement is what kept her going through the Uber rides, the arrests, the Dreamville struggles, all of it.
My grandma was like, you sound like an angel. One of my grandmas. And then the other grandma, we was watching Apollo and this girl was singing and I started singing with her and she was like, shut up.
She's been active on social media, not in a messy way, but in an honest way, posting her thoughts, her pickup truck content, her cozy sweater vibes, her living my best life as a single woman who knows her worth content. And people are watching, not just for the music anymore, but for the journey. She mentioned she goes to therapy now, has good therapists, doing mental health work because she knows that to be the artist she wants to be, she has to be healthy. She can't pour from an empty cup. And for years, she was pouring while running on fumes. The soft girl era means boundaries, means rest, means saying no, means protecting her peace even when it costs her opportunities. Tour-wise, nothing's officially announced in 2025 yet, but with new music coming, shows are inevitable. And if her previous tours are any indication, Ari Lennox shows are intimate, soulful, the kind where people cry and sing every word and feel seen. The kind where dark-skinned women come dressed in their softest fits, feeling represented and celebrated. Currently, Ari is still with Interscope for distribution, but Dreamville is officially in the rearview mirror. The paperwork is signed, the split is amicable, both sides are publicly happy. Ari gets her freedom, Dreamville gets to focus on rap, J. Cole doesn't have to figure out how to promote an R&B singer, and Ari doesn't have to wait for a rap label to understand neo-soul. Everybody wins. Or at least, that's the story they're telling. But can Ari Lennox actually succeed as an independent R&B artist in 2025? Because the music industry is brutal, especially for R&B, especially for Black women, especially for dark-skinned Black women who aren't afraid to call out colorism, talk about sex, and admit they used to steal clothes from thrift stores and eat insects for fun. The odds aren't great, but Ari's never played the odds. Ari Lennox didn't disappear. She evolved. She shed the label, the expectations, the need to fit in, the need to make everyone comfortable, because she doesn't back down from anything, ever.